What is new, campers? We are nearing the sunset here at Camp One Clap on the One Clap Speech and Debate podcast. But it is another beautiful day at camp, and we've arrived at day 28 of camp. And finally, today, we have the chance to enjoy a counselor campfire chat with NSDA Student of the Year finalist, Dani Schulz. I'm your camp director and host of the One Clap Speech and Debate podcast, Lyle Wiley. And as we start winding down our time at camp, it's my hope that these episodes have helped to jumpstart speech and debate coaches and competitors who are about to leap into another amazing year of speech and debate action. Quick reminder, check the One Clap socials for today's social media challenge topic. It's been really fun to see all the engagement from folks out there. Additionally, the ABCs of Debate with Professor Graham and Kevin, a labor of crazed lunacy and love from camp counselor Adrian Graham, has a new, interesting, fun, helpful episode every day during camp. Let's learn more about today's Counselor Campfire Chat guest, Dani Schulz. Dani finished the season #1 in the nation in overall points for the NSDA. She was an academic All-American and a 4-year qualifier for Cheyenne East High School. In 2023, Dani was Wyoming State Champ in both dramatic and program oral interpretation, as well as Wyoming Student Ambassador. In her 4 years, she's competed in national level octa, quarter, semi, and final rounds. This year, she was named a finalist for the NSDA Student of the Year. She has competed in dramatic interpretation, program oral interpretation, poetry, prose, humor interpretation, duo interpretation, duet acting, informative speaking, and original oratory. Although she has competed in many speech events, she considers her favorite event drama. Next year, she will continue competing at the collegiate level for Casper College T-Birds and will be studying secondary education. All right. Let's jump in for a chat around the campfire with Dani Schulz. Dani Schulz, welcome back to One Clap Speech and Debate.
Thank you.
Friend of the podcast. Really nice to have you back. And welcome to Camp One Clap. We're doing some camp-themed things this month. And first question I have for you, Dani, is what's your favorite camp activity?
Like a real camp?
Well, it could be like a real camp or a speech camp or whatever. It could be real. I've had stargazing and sitting around the campfire and toasting marshmallows and all kinds of different, wading in the creek, hiking. So what is your favorite camp activity?
Well, I guess in the realm of speech, because I'm a big speech nerd, I would say obviously something acting-wise, character-wise, super fun. We used to do speech camps at my school, so we would pass around topic ideas and stuff, which was really, really cool. But in general in camp, I would say roasting marshmallows. I freaking love s'mores. So
can't go wrong with s'mores.
I love s'mores.
Although there is some debate about the proper way to make a s'more or whatever, but I honestly don't really know that there's a wrong way if you've got the graham cracker, the chocolate, and the marshmallow, however you like the marshmallow.
Right.
Are you a stick it in the fire, let it burn kind of person, or do you just slowly, perfectly toast it?
I like to slowly get it golden brown, and I've gotten pretty good at it. So I think that's the best way to do it personally.
Nice. Well, we found yet another talent. Dani, you had an amazing year to cap off an amazing 4-year career in high school speech and debate at Cheyenne East. And I just really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your year. We're going to talk about a lot of the cool stuff that went down for you. But before we get there, and I think I've asked you this before, but just let's talk about it some more. On a scale of 1 to 10, how nerdy would you say that you are?
I would say definitely 10, especially in the realm of speech. I'm probably the biggest speech nerd you'll ever meet in your life. Ask anyone, ask my coaches, me and my team, we like to watch final round videos and dissect them. And I love talking about speech with people. So I'm the biggest speech nerd around. I'm also a nerd in other realms, but speech is definitely where I'm the biggest nerd.
Yes, and it's really exciting because you don't have to hang up your speech and debate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know you're not a debater per se, but your speech chops just yet because you're going to be going to college.
Yes,
there too. So it's really exciting.
Mm-hmm. Super exciting.
It's really exciting. So I kind of have a pretty good idea of how you got into speech and debate,
Yeah.
but I'd like to hear the story from your perspective. I say that because I remember seeing you at tournaments when you were in middle school.
Yeah.
So we've all got to watch you. We get to see you
Yeah,
grow up
for
as
real.
you've grown into speech and debate. But tell us your story. How'd you get into speech and debate? Why'd you stick around? What made it a good match for you?
Right. So obviously a lot of people know my mom is one of the Cheyenne's coaches, and she's been for like a really, really long time, even before Mr. Viney was coaching. And so ever since I remember, I was super little, I would go to speech practices with her because it was right after school and my dad worked. So we'd always go to speech practices and I would always watch. And then that kind of transitioned into me going to like local tournaments, like at Central and South. And I just loved them. And I would always go with my mom, and like my dad would take me, and then I would go watch rounds with my mom. And so for some reason, I never thought that I would actually be doing speech. I don't know why I thought that, but I just loved being there. And I remember at practice when Mr. Viney became coach, I would like draw pictures, and he would like draw pictures with me at practice. So he was very welcoming. And then like when I was in middle school, I guess I don't know why I never thought that I would actually be doing speech, but then I actually had a choice of which high school I wanted to go to. And obviously my mom, she didn't say it directly, but she really wanted me to go do speech at East with her. I decided to go to East, mainly to do speech, but also to hang out with my mom and stuff. And I just joined, like, we have a speech class. I just joined the speech class and I got a drama piece. And then I went to the East Novice Workshop and I was completely hooked for life. Like, I told my mom, I remember telling her this was like the most fun thing I've ever done in my life. And then from that moment, I never stopped competing for 4 years. So that's kind of my story.
Yeah, and it's been a good thing for the community, and hopefully a really good thing for you too.
Oh,
You've been
totally.
a competitor for 4 years. It's been amazing. So glad that you're here. So glad that you stuck around. You've competed in almost every single interpretive and speaking event.
Yep.
Maybe you have competed in all of them. What events have you competed in? And then what's your favorite?
I've competed in all the interps, which is drama, humor, duo, poi, and poetry. And then I've competed in almost all the platforms. So that's oratory and informative speaking. I have not competed in extemp. Pino tried to get me to do it, but I'm scared of extemp. So I also did prose and duet acting at Night Talk, which is the Tournament of Champions. And I also did World Schools once in my life. So I've done a teeny bit of debate.
Have you done any other supplemental events too? Like, did you do expository?
Yeah, I forgot about expository. I did expository. I did it, not this Nats, but last year. And that was really cool because I got to semifinals at nationals, which was insane. And then this year I was going to do an expository, but I broke too far, in my main event. So I wasn't able to do it. But that is such a cool event. I've also done, like I mentioned, prose and poetry, which were also super, super fun events as well to do.
Yeah. And, I brought up expository because I knew you did it before and did really well last year, but also Cheyenne East, of course.
Oh, God, yeah.
On stage at nationals this year and the national champion in expository. So just kind of a really amazing event run for Cheyenne East. And I know it's an event that's dear to your heart too. I mean, it's a fun event. But it's a shame that you broke too far.
Right, I know. It's a double-edged sword because I'm very proud of what I did, and I definitely wouldn't take it back, but I had a pretty good expos. But I'm so proud of the other 3 people from our team. Like, that was a really cool experience to have. Like, we've never had something like that ever, so it was really cool for our team and for Wyoming as a whole.
What was the topic of your expository you didn't get to do?
It was about the First Amendment free speech. And oh my God, it's such a good speech. So maybe someone else can take stuff from it, like from our team, and do something with it because it's just such a good speech. And I'm sad that I wasn't able to do it.
Well, sorry about that.
No worries.
Congratulations on how far you got at Nats this year. And what's your favorite event that you've ever done?
My favorite event I've ever done is definitely dramatic interpretation. For some reason, as a novice, that's the first event that I got up and started doing, and I honestly just fell in love with it. And I'm not even really sure what made me do that, but that's the event that I've qualified 3 out of the 4 years at nationals, and I just love the authentic dramatic acting. So, yeah.
I mean, you really get to make an emotional impact on folks in dramatic interpretation for sure. And I know you've had some really amazing pieces that have meant a lot to you over the years in drama too.
Yeah.
So I get that. But yeah, I also like it when you make people laugh too.
Right.
You're really good at that as well. So we talked a little bit about it, but let's talk about nationals this year, because it's not just that you have like gone far into nationals and broke into out rounds for many years, and this year did really well and broke far in your event. But you also were on the national stage because you were a finalist for NSDA Student of the Year, which is amazing. And you finished the year with the most NSDA points out of any student in speech and debate who's in the NSDA. So, gosh, that's a crazy experience. Second runner-up. Tell us about your Nats experience. Tell us about being on stage. Tell us about the NSA Student of the Year experience. Sorry, it's a lot to tell me about it.
So I guess I was one of the finalists for National Student of the Year, and which was absolutely insane. I remember Mr. Viney and my mom got the email that I was a finalist. And my mom she told me to check my email, and I was like, what does this even mean? Because I knew I was District Student of the Year, but I did not expect that remotely. So it was just insane. We were all shocked, and it was such a cool thing, and I was so surprised. And then going to nationals, it was really cool because I had to go do an interview with NSDA with all these big cameras and stuff, which was also really cool because they had this video that they would play. They put it on social media, and they also played it during during awards, I mean. And that was really cool because I had a voice, and I was able to say things to like a bunch of people. And it was just a really, really, really cool experience. And being able to go on the stage as well was insane. Like, I honestly was afraid I was going to fall off the stage or like trip when I was walking up, but it was just insane. And I think this award is super cool because obviously there's all these awards that award talent, which is also so cool and important. But this award, NSDA National Student of the Year, really awards just being a good person and doing things for the community. Like some of the words that they like describe this award as like integrity, service, leadership. So it's just really cool that I was able to be there, and like I never expected it for myself, so it definitely proved a lot to myself. And I think it's a really cool thing for Wyoming too, because like coming from such a small state, when you see people up there from your state, you're like, wow, I can actually be there. So I just think it's such a cool experience, and no one from Wyoming has ever that we know of has ever been that. So that was just an insane experience as well. We just had a really, really, really good year at Nats.
Yeah, it really is a great honor, and you super deserve it.
Thank you.
So congratulations. And yeah, I was going to say, like, you've always been what I would consider an ambassador for speech and debate. So I think a very good fit for being recognized on the national stage. And Wyoming folks do need to see that level of success and understand that they can make a difference. So all that's very true. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to add about nationals this year?
I guess I competed at nationals this year in dramatic interpretation, and I was honestly, I double qualified this year in dramatic interpretation and program oral interpretation. And honestly, when I got to nationals, I was kind of second guessing if I should have taken my ploy instead, because I just like some tournaments this year I didn't do as well in my drama that I wanted to, like especially at the bigger tournaments. So I was really questioning it. But then I was like, no, this is what I want to be talking about. This is the event that I want to be doing. This is the event that would make freshman Dani super proud. So I was like, yes, I'm going into this event, and I got to be confident. And I was super scared because drama is just so hard nationally. No one tells you that, but it really is. And honestly, I know I didn't get as far as I wanted to, but breaking top 30 really proved a lot to myself, and it proved that I can make it, because breaking those breaks are tough because it's like so many people. So it was just a really good experience, and I wanted to break farther, but those last two quarter rounds I had were like the best in my whole entire speech and debate career. So I definitely ended on a high. And my grandparents came and watched me in Arizona, which was really, really, really cool, because I always feel better. I always feel like I do better when I have my family or like someone from my team watching me. So it was honestly such a bittersweet experience. And just being able to do the event that I'm so proud of with a message that I'm so entirely believe in, it was just an irreplaceable experience. And I'm glad I was able to do it.
Since we're talking about this drama a little bit, you want to just explain what your piece was and your big connection to your piece a little bit too?
Yeah. So the drama I did this year is called Every Brilliant Thing. It's a play. It really centers around mental health and suicide. And it's a very interesting spin on the whole like mental health issue, because obviously we've seen pieces about it. We've seen topics, and it kind of follows this person who has had mental illness in their life, like their whole entire life. Their mom was super suicidal and had all these mental health issues. And they basically decide to craft this list about all these great things in the world that make life worth living for them. And they do it for their mom to help their mom get better. And I mean, obviously, I'm going to give away the ending here, but in the end, this person moves away and their mom ultimately commits suicide. And they kind of have this whole epiphany, like the list didn't save the mom, but it ultimately helped them. Like it changed the way they entirely see the world. And I think why I love this piece so much is because it really shows that mental illness touches every single life. And if we see it affecting someone else or we have it in our family, it's like, it's contagious. It infects everyone. And kind of a quote that I had in my intro for this drama is, sometimes we don't even realize the rain is falling until we are drenched. So it's like people don't realize that they're sad or they're mentally ill until it's too late, until they're drowning. And there's just so many messages in this piece that I think are so important for the world to hear, especially in Wyoming, where we have the highest suicide rates in the entire country. So it has just been such a good thing for me to do this year. And I've seen the impact on people, and it's just it makes me feel so good, because I think that's the most important thing you can do, is have an impact on your audience. So yeah, that's a little bit about my drama.
Yeah, such an important piece to share with Wyoming audiences too, I think, because I mean, you touched on this a little bit, but we definitely are seeing that as a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have the stigma about talking about mental illness in our state,
Mm-hmm.
which is really problematic. And we just, any opportunity we have to address it in a way that's healthy, that can start some discussions or help people feel like they can get help, is pretty important. So,
Totally.
really appreciate
Yeah, it just was so important for me this year, and for Wyoming, and for the speech and debate community. I just, like, maybe I didn't do as well as I wanted this year in it, and I did super well, but it was the message that mattered the most, and I know that, like, in my heart.
Yeah, and that's really a beautiful thing about the opportunities in speech, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get to share
100%.
a message that's important to you. Yeah. So let's go back to just like big picture just a little bit. So your nationals experience was amazing and you did really great, but what are some other highlights from your year? Because you had like an amazing year leading up to nationals too.
Yeah. I'd say the biggest highlight I can probably think of this year was state speech and debate 2023. It was at my school in my hometown, and that was just super special for me because, like, my whole family came and watched me, and like I said before, that is really, 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 really important to me. And it was so cool. And our team won 4A sweeps, which was absolutely insane. And we just had such a good tournament, and like my team, like, we did super well, and I also did really well. and it was just a really good experience. And I also was Wyoming's student ambassador for speech and debate, which was I don't know, it was just such a cool experience. I never thought that I was able to do that. And I got to be on stage, and Mr. Viney and Pino got to hand me my awards, which was just so cool. Such a good way to cap off my senior year, just being in my hometown, being in my school, being in my auditorium. It was priceless, honestly. And then some other, I have some like general highlights and then just some like other highlights. Districts was also really, really cool. It was in Sheridan, and we had this huge snowstorm, so we weren't sure if we were even be able to go. And we were kind of prepping for it to be online, and I'm really glad it wasn't online because we were able to go, and I qualified to nationals in drama and poi. And districts is always like so scary, like for our team, because you never know what's going to happen. Like the weirdest stuff can happen. So that was really cool. And I was district student of the year, which was also insane. I also didn't think that I would be able to do that. And then like our team, we went to some other big tournaments like James Logan, which was super cool. We got to go with my mom and Mr. Starks. And I love Starks so much. He's my bestie for real. And it was just a really cool time spending time with my team and being there in California and competing. And then we were at TOC, which was also cool. That was a really good bonding experience for our team. It was a super long drive, so we had a lot of time to bond with each other. And then kind of just in general, I would say this is probably the highlight of my year. Is just all the pieces I did this year were super, super personal and really, really impacted me as a person. Like the poi I did this year was on the teacher shortage and teachers leaving and the mistreatment of that. And so many rounds I had teachers in it just crying and being like, wow, you really made me feel seen, and you really impacted me. And I think that's so important. And I also had a poetry this year about kind of misdiagnosis of reproductive issues with women and like medical gaslighting and stuff. And I did that for a family member who had experienced that. And that was just so impactful to see how other people related to this issue and really felt seen from the piece. And obviously I talked about my drama before. So I would say that's probably the highlight of my year, just doing pieces that I'm proud about, but also seeing that other people really enjoy them and feel like they're not alone. Because, that's the reason why we do speech and debate. We speak up for these issues and we make people feel seen and like they're not alone. So I would say, that was a huge highlight of my year.
That's so cool that you had the opportunity to do those pieces that carried so much meaning for you in your senior year. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything unique that you learned about the activity or yourself this season? I mean, you've been in speech for a long time. Did this year teach you anything that you want to share?
I would say I've always thought this, but this year really nailed in this idea for me, and it was trophies aren't everything. Your meaning and your message is so important. There's this quote that Demond Wilson, the guy who founded Night Talk, the Tournament of Champions, said, and it was your words, your story has the opportunity to change the lives of others. And I think all too often we forget about that. We just think about winning and getting to that next step and getting the trophy and getting that first place. But if you're not proud of what you're doing, if you're not proud of the message that you're portraying to the world, it's not going to mean anything to you. And it just makes it that more impactful. Another thing that I learned this year is lows make the highs so much higher. If you don't do as well at a tournament or you don't break in your events or something, when you do break, when you do get that first place, it makes you so much more grateful for it because you're working for it. And no one wants to just get handed that. No one does get handed that. You have to work for it. So I just think that you're going to experience bumps in the road, but that just makes the highs so much higher. Another thing I learned, I kind of touched on this, is working hard is so important. No one gets where they are without working hard. All those people on the national final stage, they've been working. And I just think that's so important. And another thing is something that has like really been, especially at nationals, I learned this. You have the capability to go as far as you want to. All too often in Wyoming, especially, we definitely get overshadowed by the national level, or the national like section of people. And I think it just shows like us having 3 finalists. It really shows like you can be as good as you want to. You just have to reach for that level, and don't ever think that you're not able to do that, because like you really are. Like, look at those people on the stage. What are they doing that you're not, you know? So I would just say that just because you're from a small place doesn't mean you can't be at that level that others are.
Well, that's a lot of really great stuff that you learned that you passed on. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I just want to see if you wanted to add any kind of advice to interpretive or platform competitors at all, like any words of wisdom that might help them in their performance.
I kind of touched on this, but just be proud of what you're doing. Like, love what you're doing, or you're never going to feel fulfilled. That is just like the number one most important thing. Like, if you're doing if you're doing poetry, be proud of your topic. If you're doing drama or like humor, love your piece, love what you're talking about, love what you're doing, because if you don't love what you're doing, there's no sense in doing it. And I also say, don't limit yourself. Like, you have the capability to do anything you want. You just got to put in the work, and anyone can do that. Like, you can be on that stage. You can be getting those first every weekend. Don't think that you can't just because of where you come from or who you are. Anyone can do it. Another thing is, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Be weird. No one's thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. If you don't put yourself out there, you'll regret not doing it because maybe you don't do as well as you can. But if you put everything out there, then you're like, well, I did it. So if something doesn't happen, if I don't break or whatever, at least I tried. And I think a lot of people are afraid of like putting themselves out there, like giving it their all, because it's kind of to protect themselves from failure, feeling like they failed. But honestly, from personal experience, if you put it all out there and you just give it your all, you'll definitely feel better than if you didn't. So that's like some lessons I have for others.
Yeah, that last one's really hard, like letting go of all the possible anxiety or worry about other people watching you, and just, I think that's like so important.
Oh God, yeah.
Embrace the character and embrace the moment, the piece. Like, you have to really let go of a lot of that stuff. That's tough,
especially in humor.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
humor's hard for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, you end up throwing your body
right
into things. You end up
doing weird voices.
Losing. Yeah, that's a really tough thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, to let go. It really is. It was for me. That's why I didn't do humor for the longest time, because I'm like, oh, I'm scared. What if people don't laugh? But it's so important.
It's gonna look wacky.
Right. But everyone is, and it's just so important to do. I think humor is cool for that reason. It kind of helps you let go of what people think of you, especially for girls doing humor. There's extra barriers, and I mean, I would encourage all girls to go into humor just to make it, just have more representation in there. So yeah.
For sure. So I guess this kind of leads into my question about the melodrama that you're doing this summer. Because I imagine that in a melodrama, you got to let go of a lot of inhibitions as well.
Yep.
So you're doing a melodrama with your mother.
Mm-hmm.
Is it for Cheyenne
Little Theater?
Cheyenne Little Theater? That's super cool. Tell me about it.
So the melodrama, it's like a little bit about the show. It's like a classic old Western show. Basically, there's a villain, there's a hero, there's a heroine, and there's a villainess, and there's some other side characters. But it's a really cool show because it's kind of ad-lib, kind of. Basically, the audience is supposed to like cheer for the hero, boo for the villain, hiss for the villainess, and sigh for the heroine, which is really cool. It's really cool to play off the audience because sometimes they just shout stuff and you just gotta like cover for it. And it's just a really, really cool experience. And I'm playing the heroine. And actually, I was in the melodrama when I was really, really little. I was one of the little can-can dancers, the can-can cuties. So it's a really cool experience. And I'm in it with my mom, which is also really, really cool. Me and my mom is my best friend. So it's really cool to be able to spend time with her. And we've always wanted to be in a show together and be acting together because she was with my brother. And it's just so cool, and it's a good time to it's good time to spend with her before I go to college. And honestly, I mean, it's just, and I haven't been in a show in like years because of speech and debate because I've been so busy with that. So it's really cool to be able to get back on stage and give back to the theater. Like, I love our theater here, our community theater. It's a really cool thing to do, to give back to it. And it's also really cool after COVID, when we didn't know if performance was going to continue and our theater really struggled. It's really cool to see it booming again. And I've honestly really enjoyed the experience because I was in theater before I was in speech. So it's cool to get back to that, get back to my roots.
Do you have some more shows coming up?
Yeah, we actually have 2 shows tonight. We have a 7 o'clock and a 9 o'clock. Yeah. I guess technically we do the melodrama for Cheyenne Frontier Days, which, if people don't know, it's kind of like it's like a big like festival type thing with like, there's rodeo, there's country artists, there's a carnival and stuff. And we have a lot of tourists in our town. So that's a big attraction for that. So that's really why they do it. And they do it every single year. So yeah, it's just a big Western thing.
Has the attendance been pretty good?
So far, yeah. There's 2 casts, and our cast only has had 2 shows, but both of those shows have been honestly really really well attended. And Frontier Days just started, so I'm sure we'll have more and more, especially in the night shows.
Cool. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It's been super fun.
It's also typecasting, of course. You're going to be
right.
Nah, just teasing. What role does your mom play?
She so she's not one of the main like characters, but she's a side role. She's like the attendant of the bar that it all takes place in. And it's kind of funny because throughout the whole story, I was like, my character was like lost in a flood or something, so she didn't know her real mother or father, thought they died. And then in the end we realized that my mom, her character, is actually my real mom. So it's like really funny that we're actually mother-daughter, and people really get a kick out of that.
That's very ironic,
right?
And also very lovely.
It's cute.
That's awesome. So we've alluded to this a little bit. You're going to continue your speech career at Casper College next year. Tell me more about your future. What's next for you, Dani?
So obviously I'm going to Casper College for speech and debate, but I'm also majoring in secondary education, English literature, which I'm honestly really excited about. I come from a very long line of teachers, and I'm honestly just really excited about it. And I think being a teacher is one of the most important professions that anyone can be right now because of the whole teacher employment crisis. And I mean, teachers are the most important job ever. They raise the new generation. And also, being a teacher, I would love to be a speech and debate coach because I love speech and debate. I love high school speech and debate, and I would love to see other people enjoy it as much as I had. So I'm definitely following in my mom's footsteps because she is an English teacher and a speech coach. But I'm really excited, and I'm excited for speech and debate, and I'm honestly just excited to be at Casper because my mom went there too. So honestly, yeah, that's what's next for me.
Yeah, that's really exciting. We definitely need educators for the future. It's a hard thing to encourage people to go into.
I know, right?
There's a lot of hard things to explain to folks about what it really is. But I mean, I think you've got good perspective on that with your seeing what your mom does. You did a piece that really encapsulated a lot of the struggles that teachers are having right now. I think you're going in with your eyes open. You're going to do great.
Thank you.
And coaching speech and debate is, I don't know if there's anything a whole lot more rewarding in terms of what you can do. So I hope that you get that opportunity.
Oh, me too.
To be an amazing coach.
Thank you.
So that's all very exciting. Let's just go back to generalizing about the activity just a little bit.
Okay.
So in your speech and debate experience, what do you think is the very best thing about speech and debate? There's a lot of great stuff. What's the best part?
I think maybe there's so many good things about it, but maybe the best part is the effect it has on you and the people and your audience. Because I can speak from personal experience. Speech and debate has completely transformed my life. If you knew me before speech and debate, you would be shocked because I was so shy. I didn't talk. And now I'm not like that at all. So I think it proves a lot to yourself, and it honestly educates you a lot about yourself, but also about other issues and stuff. And it also impacts your audience. Like I said, like being in those rounds, you're watching all these pieces that mean a lot to the people doing it. So um, it's just so cool to see the impact that it has on your audience, and that you're single-handedly changing people's lives and helping them think different. I think that's definitely the best thing about speech and debate.
Yeah, there's so much opportunity for impact.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. So I always like to give folks an opportunity just at the end. Is there anything you'd like to add about your speech and debate experience? Any concerns you have with the community? Anything you want to talk about that's near and dear to your heart about the activity? Anything at all?
I think I would just say speech and debate has something to offer to each and every person. Mr. Viney, my coach, calls it the lost and found of people, of schools. And I think that's so true, because you see all these people come together for all these different reasons and find something that they're so passionate about, and able to get up in the morning and dress in full suits as teenagers and be able to do something so impactful to your life and to other people. I would just say it has something to offer to every single person. So if someone out there is questioning whether they should do it, do it. I remember when I first got in speech and debate, I told my mom, I am not screaming in a piece. I do not want to scream in a piece. And now I scream all the time in pieces. And it might sound a little weird, but really you do things that you never imagined yourself being able to do. Like as a freshman, I never imagined the accomplishments I would have in the next 4 years. And honestly, just makes yourself really proud of what you've done, how you've experienced this competitive world and all the challenges that comes along with it. I just think it has something to offer to everyone. And I'm the biggest advocate for speech and debate, and the things it does for people and the audience too. Like, my family came and watched, they came to nationals and watched the final rounds. And I just think that was so important for them, because they were able to see like these young people on the stage just so passionate about what they're doing. So speech and debate just does everything for people. And I think people don't always realize that. It's like probably one of the most important things ever, human speech and listening to people.
Well, I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Dani. That's lovely stuff.
Thank you.
Very true, I think. So let's close out on a lighter note, although it is important, because I have been on this journey trying to figure out like what is the perfect snack for speech and debate tournaments. I mean, we're always kind of in a hurry. It's hard to find that balance of taking care of yourself and your physical needs and everything while you're still getting ready for a performance. So for you, what is the perfect go-to speech and debate snack?
I would say my favorite speech and debate snack is probably Rice Krispie treats, or those sugar cookies that are super sweet that you get from Walmart with the frosting and stuff. I love those so much. And my team especially, we go to Walmart a lot, like after tournaments and stuff. So those are the things I definitely say are the best. Yeah.
Are you a caffeine drinker?
I am, but not as much as others. I love chai. I don't drink coffee, but I love chai. If I can get a chai, awesome.
Nice. Thank you so much, Dani, for coming on and talking to me on One Clap Speech and Debate at Camp One Clap. It's lovely to talk to you always.
Thank you. It's lovely to be on.
I appreciate it. I'd love to have you back. I know you're going to be really busy, but maybe we can work on some stuff.
Yeah, totally. I love what you do for the community, and being on it and being a part of it is so amazing for me.
Thank you so much to the always fabulous and kind Dani Schulz for joining us here at Camp One Clap for a Counselor Campfire chat. And good luck to Dani at Casper College this year. It's always a pleasure to speak with Dani, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for such a talented competitor. What's new at camp tomorrow? Well, Camp One Clap Quiz Clash with Counselor Londi Gagnon will be back for the final round. Miley Williams from Riverton, having defeated Jackson Hole alum Josh Hansen, moves to the final round against the new challenger, Hot Springs County High School alum, debate coach, and UW debater Jean-Luc Wilson. Also, Counselor Adrian Graham will drop another smoking hot episode of Professor Graham and Kevin's ABCs of Debate. Remember, social media challenges are live for every day of camp this August. Have yourself a fabulous day, campers, and remember, if you are a crazy hiker and you get stuck in the forest, the way to get home is the psychopath. For Camp One Clap, this is Camp Director Wiley, signing off.